So today I have with me Heather Vickery. Okay, she's a positive psychology specialist and certified in human design, hypnotherapy, NLP, EFT, and and the time techniques. And you're also a public speaker. Okay,
I am.
and you have a woman and LGBTQ owned business. Okay.
I do.
All right. And you have an upcoming retreat in January 2026 to Costa Rica. Okay. All
Let's
right.
go.
Okay. And you also have upcoming retreats in France and the Hamptons.
So we get there. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I like to hang out with the movers and shakers. Haven't you
I
tell?
know. I know.
And you also have this transformative work that you have developed as far as with the subliminal audio for subconscious reprogramming. Okay. And they're customized to your human design.
We
Okay.
are.
All right. All right. We're going to get into some of these things. All right. And then you have this 5-day creating abundance challenge. You have created this brave deck manifestation card deck. Okay. Yeah. And you have the book behind you. All right. Yes. And you have your journals as well. And you have all of these things packaged beautifully on your
Thank
website.
you.
Okay. Love that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
And so hanging out with people like yourself gives me a lot to aspire to. Okay. Thank you. No limits and no barriers. And Carolyn, thank you all for joining us.
Oh,
Okay, so
Gail. Hello, friend. Look at all these beautiful faces and names I recognize.
okay. So talk to us about your leadership journey.
I
Okay.
know. And for those of you who were here last week, we tried. Margaret and I don't give up. We're not the give up kind of girls. We just find new ways, new pathways. So it's going to be different, even though the story is the same, because we're different every day. We show up different every day. But so I've been an entrepreneur pretty much my entire adult life. I learned very quickly. Hey, Megan. Megan's going to Costa Rica. If anybody wants to join Megan and me in Costa Rica. Um, I learned really quickly out of college that while I work well with people, I do not work well for people. And I don't know what it was in me that made me go, well, I just don't have to. If I don't want to, I don't have to. Maybe just stubborn, if you ask my mom. Um, and I took my skills and my expertise and I started an event and wedding planning business a long time ago, half of my life ago. And I built a really incredible, thriving business that did very, very, very well. I moved forward through my life. I got married. I had 4 gorgeous children. And I noticed that I was losing myself with every step that I took. And when I sat down and I got really real with myself and really honest with myself, I realized that it was because I was hiding from myself and from my life, and I was married to the wrong gender. And I went through a massive personal transformation. So I guess we've got a leadership journey. My leadership journey, and I think everybody's leadership journey is about my internal journey. I had to be a leader to myself before I could really be a leader for other people, an honest, authentic leader for other people. And so then I embarked on what really became the most incredible transformational journey of my life and the foundation of everything that I use today to support clients. I got my positive psychology certification because I needed to understand how to be a happier person. I did come out, I did get a divorce, which is a hard, all of it. The coming out is hard at the age of 38. The divorce, even when it's the right thing, doesn't make it an easy thing, a very difficult thing to do. So all of those things are at play, but I was trying to figure out, how do I show up into the world? How do I take up space? How do I choose to be a thoughtful, heart-centered, conscious leader? How do I show up for myself in that way. And then it became clear that I could help other people. I always say coaching found me. I didn't find it. Once I got into my positive psychology certification, I started really paying attention to my behavior, my thoughts, my choices, my actions. I now call that taking radical responsibility for yourself. But all those years ago, I didn't have that language, right? I've zeroed in on it. And I started to notice that people came to me, called, stopped me at events, emailed, texted several times a week. I want to try this. I want to start this. I want to do this. I want to build this. I think you can help. Will you talk to me? And I was like, yeah, sure. You want to talk? Let's talk. Right. And then I was like, it's time for me to listen now. Just to fast forward and put a pin in it. Now that I understand human design, I'm a projector in human design, and projectors are guides and leads, but we have to be invited in. So when I share that story, which is a very true story, for years I did not understand that the reason that was so blossoming for me was because all of these people were inviting me to come in and support them. And all the invitation was very clear that this was a path I was designed to go down. And that's when I started my coaching business. And everything that I teach and every way that I support people are because through my own journey, I have been curious. I have wanted to learn these things, human design, somatics, NLP. I wanted to understand it for myself and utilize it for myself. And then I had that foundation to support other people with it. Thank you.
Amazing. Amazing. So, when you talk about these things, talk to me about the subliminal audios that you have created
Sure.
and why.
Yeah. So subliminal audios are really fantastic. And they're one of the things that you um, that kind of tangentially learn when you're getting certified in neurolinguistic programming. So that is where I got my certification to be a hypnotherapist, EFT, time techniques, all of that stuff. And we understand the neuroscience of how our subconscious gets patterned on and how we can shift thoughts, beliefs, actions, all of those things. I love subliminal audios because they are the one thing that just gets to be easy. When we are talking about transforming, and I tell people every day, I'm a transformation coach. I take you from where you are to where you want to be. When we're talking about doing that, it's often very chrysalis to butterfly, right? It is icky, it is messy, it is hard. You are in deep. And that can be wonderful, but it can also be overwhelming. And subliminal audios are something that just for a minute or 30 minutes or an hour get to make it easy. So one of the things that I do that I don't know a ton of other people who do, I happen to know somebody else here on Substack that does it, which is very cool. And I love chatting with her and collaborating with her. I combine my human design expertise with my NLP expertise. And that's where I created an entire catalog of human design focused subliminal audios. So for this to make sense for everybody, for you and everybody who's paying attention, human design is a modern scientific self-discovery system based on several different ancient sciences and philosophies: the Chinese I Ching, Kabbalah, Buddhism, quantum physics, the chakra system, and astrology. I don't know why it works and I don't know how it works. I simply know that it does work because I can get your birth date, time, and location. I can pull your chart and I can tell you things about you that I have no way of knowing, no business knowing these things. And people are like, how'd you read me like that? I'm like, it's all right here. It's all about expansion. It's all about living into your highest self without apology, because you cannot change the way you're designed and you're not broken. You don't have to be fixed, but you do want to understand yourself and work with what you've got. So feeling and being aligned with your human design is a powerful way to practice radical self responsibility. So I created subliminal audios based on every single element of the human design charts. And you get to just click play. You listen in the background while you're working, while you're doing the dishes, while you're taking a walk, while you're meditating, whatever it is, whatever area you want to work and be aligned with. Hello, Hillary. And so it is exciting. And I'm getting so much wonderful feedback. People feel so much more calm. They feel so much more creative. I had a client the other day say they're restful. If I listen to them when I'm tired, they might put me to sleep. But if I listen to them when I'm really, really worked up and pumped up and wired, they just take that anxiety edge off. And I find that I can problem solve easier and more creatively. And I listen to them all the time. This morning, I listened to my strategy, my authority, and also I have an open G center. And I don't want to get too complicated with folks who don't understand their human design. Although, if you want to pull a free chart, you can pull it on my website. Uh, the link's in my bio. Go grab your free human design chart. But an open G center, the G center is the center for self awareness, self love, worthiness. And when we have an open G center, we can often really struggle with feeling worthy and having self love and all of that. And I could tell that I was having a little bit of that misalignment today. So I chose to listen to that one, and it just quietly recalibrates. I love subliminal audios because they get to feel easy and the way they work. So you just hear music, and underneath it, I am doing affirmations that fit specifically with the area, whatever the human design or whatever the subliminal audio is about. But you can't hear my voice. Sometimes you might hear me talking a little bit. But they just quietly and slowly shift your subconscious programming from something you don't want to something you do want. And we have a friend here, and I think Carolyn is her name. Is that right? So she's wonderful. No limits, no barriers. Is that Carolyn? Yes. You asked me such a great question last week about that. How do you know what is being said in the subliminal audios? And my answer to your disappointment was you don't know, and you don't want to know, because if you do, what the neuroscience shows us is that you can block it. Your subconscious can block it out. But what that means is you have to vet, and you should be vetting your coaches and your mentors and your experts anyway. You have to make sure that you really trust the people who you're working with or who you're getting subliminal audios from. And I really want people to vet me. I want you to know that you can trust me and feel good about it. And I try to be super transparent about that. So I love that you asked that question, Carolyn. Thank you so much.
The
Oh,
fact
Megan.
that, oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. But somebody commented, Megan, my client who's going with us to Costa Rica, said she loves her subliminal audios because they're not another thing to do and you could just play them in the background. So,
Yes, I just want to say that because we are members of the International Coach Federation, we are bound by the code of ethics.
absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
When we're talking about the subliminal uh, audio, I just wanted to make mention of the music frequencies because I was familiar with them myself, growing up in Detroit, you know, the Motor City, Motown. I'm all about music. And I didn't realize, I've been listening to music my whole life, through my whole career, everything. And I realized that you have the binaural beats, I might be saying it wrong, which are two slightly different frequencies in each ear. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates a perceived brainwave entrainment, which enables stress and anxiety reduction, improvement of memory, and enhancement of sleep. And it's also a meditation aid. And I heard you in your video earlier live that some of your subliminal contain these beats.
Yeah, we use the binaural beats. And the other one I love to use are bilateral beats. And it's funny that Megan's in this room. I know that she likes them. So bilateral is where when you have your headphones in, it feels like the sound is going from one side of your head to the other, from one ear to the other. She loved it. She said it feels like a massage for her brain. Other people do not love it because it's distracting and they can't focus. So it's always good for me to know those things. If I need to shift music selections for you, I can do that. I also do custom subliminals. Megan happens to have one subliminal that covers her entire chart. as well as all of the individual ones. So, I have clients. I had a client who came to me the other day, and she was just really, really struggling with confidence in one very specific area of her life. So I created a specific human design subliminal for her for that. And then I ask about, like, what kind of music do you like to listen to in the background? What feels relaxing? Um, I had a client who was traveling with her 2 small children under the age of 3 to go visit her family, her husband's family in, I don't actually know which country, but they're going to Africa. It was a really big trip with little bitty kids, and I said, "What's the thing that you most want to feel?" And she said, "I most want to feel calm." So I created a subliminal for her to channel calmness to listen to whenever having those little kids on those planes and in different countries, so you can just use them for all sorts of things.
That's wonderful. Now, ones the sound frequencies that I'm familiar with that I was also incorporating in my meditative practices
Mhm.
through Insight Timer were the healing Safadio frequencies, and these pitches are like 432 uh, um, and 528.
Yeah,
Okay. And they're believed to have some relaxing and healing effects that promotes physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
I love it.
Okay.
Isn't it cool how that's the mind body connection, right? Like music and the different sound frequencies can really make an impact. I just love it.
Yes. And I would totally prefer using these holistic aids versus pharmaceutical,
Yeah.
okay? Because as we know, those pharmaceutical drugs have adverse effects. As we know, when they show the commercial on TV, they will say, "Oh, by the way," read the fine print at the bottom and show you, "Oh,
Yeah.
it'll give you that diarrhea, give you gas, give you this, give you that." I'm like, "Oh my God, which is worse? Is it the
I
side
know.
effects or what I'm really feeling right now?"
I know. But I want to be clear. I personally, I'm not a medical professional. And if medication is helping you live a better life, you should do that. Right. But there are also other things you can try that could work in conjunction. Um, and I think that what that is about, we're talking about taking radical responsibility for yourself as well as your health. So you want to have medical professionals that you trust and respect, but also try some things on your own and be exploratory and see how all the different ways you can support yourself.
Absolutely, but highly recommend talking to your physician first because there was a time when I was taking supplements, okay? You have to be very, very careful taking supplements if you're taking uh, prescription drugs because some of those supplements
Yeah.
counteract, okay? And it can mess up your kidneys, it can mess up your liver. So I would highly recommend talking to your physician before you remove yourself from mm, any
Yeah.
anything you're taking and say, "Hey, what do you think if I start this particular
Yeah.
thing?" and and make sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I've been
Totally
there,
agree.
done that. Okay. I also wanted to mention that they have resonant frequencies too, which are natural vibration rates of objects or spaces, and they're used to restore balance and optimize functioning. You've seen those forks, those
You have the forks. I have a sound bowl that I do almost every day. But the other thing is I have this, I feel like I might have shared this with Megan, but maybe I didn't. I haven't done them in quite a while, but gateway meditations, and they have you do internal resonance. They'll play they'll play tunes like notes, and like you do your internal resonance, so you calibrate yourself from the inside out. It's really fun stuff. The gateway meditations, they're very cool.
that is awesome, really. And when I saw your live earlier, you talked about the breath work. You talk about the
Mm,
4-7-8.
it's my
Okay.
favorite.
Okay. So you want to talk to us about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I want to. It's funny because we were chatting earlier about being certified versus being informed. I am not breathwork certified. I do breathwork for myself and I enjoy it. So I want to be really transparent about the fact that this is not something I'm an expert in, but the 4-7-8 is a fantastic reset. It's a somatic reset and you can do it anytime and it's really quick. So before I go into any coaching session, I will have people and we start with we can all do it together. I start with a little bit of stretching, little neck and shoulder stretch. Oh, like finally breathing, rolling your shoulders, whatever feels good. And I like to suggest taking your shoulders up and clenching them as high as you can and then release. And that feels so good. There's a whole myofascial release when you do that. And then I like to have people do, and I did not do this in my live earlier, but when I'm coaching, we do the Ho'oponopono prayer. So left hand over your heart and right hand over your left. And there's a reason your left hand, your left arm is your feminine, your mother's side. And that's why I like to put it closer to my heart. And then I say the Ho'oponopono prayer, which is thank you. I'm sorry. I forgive you. I love you. And I have clients either repeat it out loud or to themselves. But that's a prayer for you, right? That's for you. You're thanking yourself. You're loving yourself. You're apologizing yourself. You're forgiving yourself. And then the actual breath work is quite simple. We breathe in through our nose for a count of 4. We hold at the top for a count of 7. And we release through our mouth for a count of 8. And I'll talk you through it. You want to do it?
Sure.
All right, let's go. In, hold, release. In, hold, release. Last one. In, hold, and release. And that's it. And it's so simple and it clears your energy blocks. It takes you from a stuck situation to an unstuck situation. It stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. It's great if you're feeling anxious or stuck, if you're having a hard time sleeping. It's such an easy resource to just keep in your pocket.
Now, another thing that you talked about on another live before then was you were showing people the EFT techniques, okay?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So EFT tapping is emotional freedom technique. And it is amazing. You can release stress and anxiety. It's actually a subconscious reprogramming tool. So I became EFT certified when I got my NLP certification. So stimulating your parasympathetic nervous system, what is really cool about EFT is you actually release the icky, the negative, the all of those. And then I can take you guys through it. I would just be making it up on the fly because I often will create scripts for people. But whatever your issues are. And so, okay, I had one. The last couple of days, I've just been feeling really, really tired. So I'll show you. You start by releasing the negative on your karate chop point, and you can do either hand, and then we go from there to the inner eye, and you can do one side of the inner eye or both, doesn't matter. Then we're going to go to the outer eye. You can do one side or the other or both. Under the eye, one side or the other or both. Under the nose, I do it like this. Some people do it like this. You can't do it wrong, whatever you prefer. Under the mouth, your collarbone. So you find your collarbone, you go just a little bit lower right here. Under your arm, which you can either do one side or the other, or a bear hug. You can do both. And then the top of your head. So we'll just do real world examples. I try to always be the type of coach that is super transparent about whatever's happening in my life. If I'm celebrating, I want to celebrate with you. If I'm struggling, I try to be honest about that because it just reminds people that nobody has it all figured out all the time. I don't have all the answers all the time. I just have the tools and resources to move through it. So I have been feeling really unmotivated and sluggish the last couple of days. So we'll tap on that. And if that feels resonant to you, you can do that with me, or you can just watch and follow along and we can create custom scripts for you, or you can find things on TikTok or YouTube and try all sorts of things. But So we start like this. And even though I sometimes feel unmotivated and tired, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. Even though it's really difficult to run a business when I'm tired and sluggish and unmotivated, it's okay. I can forgive myself. I'm just human. Even though I'm frustrated with myself when I'm unmotivated and tired, I allow myself to have all my feelings and I slow down and I take a deep breath and I know that everything's going to be okay. And I move to the inner eye. Oh, this lack of motivation and sluggishness really frustrates me, but I'm ready to let it go now. I'm ready to let my body rest if that's what it needs. I'm ready to just trust myself that I'm always in the right place. Outer eye. I don't have to be a machine all the time. I'm not a machine. I can't always go, go, go. Maybe my body just wants me to slow down and rest for a little bit. I can listen to myself and I can love myself. Under the eye. It's safe for me to slow down, rest, and not hustle. Under the mouth, under the nose. No matter what happens, I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. I'm worthy of rest. Under the mouth. My body's been telling me to slow down. My mind's been telling me it's okay to rest. It's okay to find creative ways. You're always in the right place. The universe is always looking out for you. Collarbone. I feel so much more joy when I'm kind to myself and I practice self-compassion. I'm patient with myself, tender with myself. Under the arm, I don't have to go, go, go. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to rest. I don't have to have motivation all the time. Sometimes I can just be and exist. On top of the head, no matter what happens, I know I'm safe. I know I'm loved. And I deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And you can gently stop tapping. Take another deep breath in. And that's just an example of EFT tapping.
I want to tell you, I wish I had these tools. I wish I had this 6 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry you didn't. I'm sorry you didn't. Yeah.
I didn't think about it. I knew about these things, but when you're in the thick of things, things some like they say you can't see the forest for the trees, right?
Sometimes. But isn't that nice? I mean, don't you just like I just feel better. I actually feel more alert and more awake. And you can use them for everything. I did mention this, I think, earlier on my live. My youngest daughter struggles to go to sleep, so I did a recording for her. And I actually combined some hypnotic stuff with it. So as she's tapping, I feel my body getting heavy. My mind is ready to right. Like, so she does it almost every night. She listens to my voice and does the tapping. And she said, sometimes I have to do it twice, and sometimes you do, right? That's okay. Yeah.
So one of the things that you talked about earlier was like being a workaholic. Okay, I worked for the Army 39 years. I am a workaholic, and I'm still a workaholic. And you talk about finding time to rest. Okay, what is that?
Really necessary. That's what it is. Really, really necessary. Listen, we are not machines, despite the fact that we live in a country, and I don't know if everybody who's watching is in America, and if you're not, Congratulations. Um, but we live in a society that is constantly telling us, and Canada might be the same. Megan's in Canada. Yeah, I don't know. You have to tell me where there is this like go, 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 work, work, work. Rest is the last thing on your list. Joy is the last thing on your list. All of that. And it's not sustainable. And I know that I mentioned this in my live for those of you who were there earlier. So maybe you heard this, Margaret, but um, I recently read a book called The Measure. And I won't get too much into it. It's a really interesting book. Everybody, when you turn 22, everybody in the whole world got this box. And the box says inside is the measure of your life. And there's this red string, and the length of the string indicates how much life you have left to live. And it is a fascinating conversation about, does the truth create us, or do we create the truth, and how it shifts your choices and your behavior if you think you know when you're going to die. But at the end of the book, they fast forward 15 years and they're in Italy and they're in a Venetian mask store. And the owner says, "Oh, it was different for us than it was for Americans, because we already prioritized the most important things. We prioritized laughter and joy and family and adventure and creativity. And Americans had to learn to shift to prioritize those things." And that really hit me in the gut, even though it's the work I do all the time. Megan says that it's hustle over in Canada too. Um, and that reminder that, yes, we live in this society, then we have to fall in line in some ways, but you don't have to sacrifice everything to fall in line. And I want you to find creative ways to take 10 or 15 minutes to yourself, do EFT tapping, do this 4, 7, 8 breath work, get up and walk away from something for a few minutes. Have set some boundaries, put some scheduling parameters on, like just find little ways to nurture yourself. I'm an avid reader. I just finished my 92nd book of the year. I love to read. It's not a competition. It's not me over anybody else. But 7 years ago, I couldn't read 92 pages in a year. I used to. I have an English degree. I loved to read, but life was lifing. And I was invited in to do the 12 books in 12 months challenge by a friend of mine. Uh, I eventually took her up on the challenge. That first year, I read 23 books, so I already did it. But I had to create the space. So I used to have a story, and we're talking about reading, but you can apply this to anything. If you got a story, we can shift it, right? So I used to have a story that, unless I had hours and hours and hours to sit down and read so that I could really immerse myself, I couldn't read it all. Wasn't worth it. But what I had to shift was that whole narrative. So I learned to read in the cracks of my life. If I had a few minutes to kill waiting for the kids, or, while dinner was cooking, I would just read for 10 or 15 minutes and let that be okay. I listened to audiobooks in the car. Like, I would just find time that I didn't think I had and allow myself to do just a little bit of it, because the compound effect is a powerful tool. This, for good or for bad. You do just a little of this and it piles on, and it could be wonderful, or maybe the next thing you know, it's not wonderful, right? Depends on how you're
Absolutely.
spending that time. Yeah.
Absolutely. So when we talk about these things, you also talked about assumptions and boundaries,
Mhm.
which we know is very, very important.
Yeah. So assumptions are really fascinating. We all make them. My goal is to help people notice it and catch it and shift it. Assumptions really limit us. They put us in a box because we think we know how someone's going to behave, or what somebody's going to say, or what somebody's going to do. How often do you not ask for something that you want or help that you need because, oh, well, they won't listen anyway, or they won't do that anyway? How do you know? And then the flip side of that is, then you're taking away somebody else's autonomy and consent. Consent is not just for sex, right? If you assume that you know what somebody's going to say or what somebody's going to do, or they're going to not support you, you aren't giving them the chance to do so. Find out. Yeah. assumptions really are very dangerous. And I spend a lot of time working with clients on how to release assumptions. When you're taking radical responsibility for yourself, you are not assuming for others, you're asking thoughtful questions. Yeah. And then
And
that's about
this is
boundaries. Oh, go ahead. Yeah. 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 What?
no, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Talk about boundaries.
Well, I was just going to say boundaries are limits that define acceptable behavior. And my favorite part of that is you get to decide what's acceptable for you. But you don't know if you don't know. If you're not the Brave method is my own coaching method, problem solving, dreaming, designing, building, and having a life that you love. That's what my book is about. And Brave is an acronym, and the R is the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, and resilience. You can't know what kinds of boundaries you need to set and how to clearly communicate them and with who if you're not practicing reassessment, reflection, looking at what's happening. Who am I? How do I like the way I'm feeling? Do I like my choices? Do I like how I'm spending my time? What do I want to shift? What do I want to keep? All of that really consistently, not just sometimes, every day, checking in with yourself and then going, what intentional action do I want to do? And it doesn't have to be a long time. It could be 2 or 3 minutes first thing in the morning, 2 or 3 minutes at the end of the day. Just just be aware, because I know I said this in my live earlier and you heard it, and I think Megan was there too. Awareness creates knowledge. Knowledge is power. And once you know, you can't unknow. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, we know that. So now going back to human design for a minute, knowing, okay, what is it specifically that you need? Because you said you were a projector. Okay. So if I give you my birthday, then you can tell me what mine is, which is probably 70% of the people, maybe, and then they will
I
understand.
I thought we
Go
did
ahead.
yours. And I thought you were a manifesting generator, but I don't know if that's true or not. So we need your birth date, time, and location to pull your charts.
May 24th. Okay.
Okay. All right, hold on. I'm gonna pull my computer because we're on our phones here. Um, and let me open my systems. Hold on, give me a second, because Margaret was really patient with me. I was in the car when we first got on this live. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it. I'm curious, those of you who are in the audience, how many of you know what your human design is? And how many of you, yeah, share it. Share your human design with us. Okay. We're
Yeah.
gonna
Curious. Yeah, put it in the chat. We curious to know.
I definitely want to know. Yeah. Okay, let me see, how do I pull a new chart in here? I haven't been in here in a long time. Usually people go onto my website. Why is this not doing this? Pulling. Oh, here we go. The plus sign. That'll get you every time.
Okay. Megan said she's a manifester.
She
Okay. All right,
is.
you go, girl.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Let me see if anybody else have comments while you're doing that. She said 6'2", emotional authority. Okay,
Yes.
girl, I know that's
Okay.
right. She used
So
her
what is
power.
she knows? Yeah, Megan and I spent a lot of time talking about her human design and we're learning to work with it. Okay, so what is your birthday? What month is it?
May
May. Okay, what day?
24,
Okay, and what year?
1962.
Okie dokie. Now, what time of day?
I don't know. I would think it was around maybe 3 in the morning.
Okay, so I will say we need to know the time. So we'll guess 3 a.m. But if you can get your birth certificate in for human design, it won't change your overall chart, but it will change some specifics in your chart. So if you're pulling your chart, it's really helpful to know the time. But if we want to say 3 a.m., we can do that. And let's see what happens. And what location?
Ann Arbor, Michigan. A lot of people probably have the same human design and overall, maybe overall.
Well, so overall type, yes.
Yeah, overall type, yes.
But there are a lot of intricate details. So, like, okay, I Can I change? Yeah. Okay, so this is your chart, all right? And that's not gonna mean anything to you right now. I just wanted you to see it. So if anybody
Okay.
wants to see that. So it is a lot of detailed information. I was right. You are a manifesting generator. Manifesting generators are multi-passionate. Um, Manifesting generators are the people who are told their whole lives, why can't you just pick something and stick with it? Why are you always changing your mind? Why are you trying different things all the time? And the answer to that is because you're supposed to try new things all the time. Because when
Okay.
you're supposed to expand and explore and try things, and then when you feel like you no longer need that to shift and change your mind or delegate or do whatever. Your charts in particular, Margaret, you have a lot of defined centers. So they have 9 centers in our chart. And when they're defined, it
Okay.
means you have very consistent, lots of defined centers, Megan says. Exactly. You have very consistent ways of being in those areas. When you have an undefined center, it means that it's variable based on what's happening around you. You absorb and amplify the energy of others. So I look at this and I know you're very rock solid in who you are. You have a lot of confidence. You also might be considered stubborn sometimes. Yeah. The only 2 areas centers that you have open are your head and your ajna. And so that tells me maybe you get other people's worries a lot into your mind. You can really get yourself upset with thoughts or ideas or doubts. How is this going to go? What is this going to look like? And so I just invite you. So if you would want, maybe it would be great to get the undefined center subliminal audios for your head and your ajna, because it helps you stay aligned. Your undefined centers are where you're here to learn, because we don't have an intuitive knowing and we can really mess ourselves up. Um, you have a what we call affectionately a hell yes or fuck no, your defined sacral. Um, you know what's for you and you know what's not for you always, but you don't always listen. Yes. So try to listen. And then you have a defined emotional solar plexus. So you are an emotional 3-5 manifesting generator. Um, what that means is for big decisions, you are not designed to make them very quickly. You want to give yourself time for your emotional wave, 24 to 48 hours at the very least. Your sacral will go, yes, I want to explore this. And then you take some time. So you're not supposed to immediately jump into decision making on big things. Ask your questions, explore, and you're going to fly off. You're going to have big emotional waves. Um, you have the right to all of your big emotions and feelings, and you have the responsibility to not make that somebody else's problem. So go off on your own, ride your wave, and when you feel level, you come back and you make your decisions. Yeah,
Thank
that's
you
just a
so
little bit.
much.
Yeah, that's just a little bit. We can go. I can do. Usually, when I do readings, we spend about 2 hours. So there's a little tidbit of a human design reading.
I appreciate that. And so knowing this about myself naturally, it's always best to go with the flow. Things
Yes,
work out better that way. Okay.
yes,
And understanding yourself better, you can make better decisions from a position of strength, not a position of weakness. Okay.
that's it. That's it, my friend. That is it. Yeah.
So we're on this journey together. So as we talk about neurolinguistic programming, is something that really drew me in. Learning about how our matrix of the world is really not how it was. Okay. And
Mm,
understanding the difference between the two was really fundamental. And some of the things that really struck me about neuro linguistic programming was ability to associate and to disassociate ourselves. Okay. For many years, I disassociated myself. I removed
mhm.
my emotions so it wouldn't cloud my judgment. Okay. However, by doing that, and I was like a stone. I didn't allow anything to penetrate, which means
Mm.
it left me cold, dark, and lonely. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you and so with with the that was disassociation. Sorry, with association, you bring your feelings into it, and then that brings you much more center where we really actually need to be.
Yeah, you
Okay,
want to be associated. I call it being present, but it is associated in your life. And now we use that in NLP in a lot of my different tools. First of all, we would do some work to find out, and I can do this with you right now if you'd like. When you think of a past experience or memory, do you see a picture? Does a picture come into your mind?
absolutely,
Okay. It doesn't for everybody. Is it moving or is it still?
it's still
Does it have sound?
no,
Okay. Does it have a feeling in your body?
yes,
Okay, right. So when I ask you those questions now, I learned that you are a visual processor and a kinesthetic processor. So you see it and you feel it. So if we wanted to, for example, we wanted to shift a negative memory and kind of negate it. We probably aren't going to make a negative experience feel like a positive experience, but we could take away its power. So I would manipulate, we call those submodalities. I would manipulate your submodalities. We would shift the way you see it. We would maybe add a sound if it didn't have that. We would change it so that when you connect with that memory, it doesn't bring up those big feelings. But we can change thought patterns, behaviors, beliefs, emotions, feelings, all of that. And sometimes when we're doing timeline work, for example, I'll have you associate, so see it from your own eyes. You're associated in the picture. And sometimes I'll have you disassociate, step out of the picture where you're looking down and you see yourself in the picture. So we use those tools in different ways to help you process things, whatever it is that you need to process.
one of the things that I love using is the big screen. Okay, when I have a problem, I will disassociate myself. I will put that problem up on the big screen, and it's like I'm sitting watching the movie, and I'll replay it. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I like to see the first person, second person, third person, look at each perspective so I can understand it, break it apart, and see what makes the most sense before I step in a pile of you know what.
But I that makes so much sense to me having seen your human design chart, um, because you have the open head and the open ajna. So your head is your thoughts, ideas, inspirations, doubts, questions, and your ajna is how you conceptualize those things into being. So I can see you pull up the screen and you manipulate the parts a little bit, you move things around, then you have a better understanding of maybe what direction you want to take it. That makes sense to me.
Absolutely, because we know for every action, there's an
It's
equal
an
and
equal
opposite
opposite
reaction.
reaction.
Okay. And once you make that first move, you can't pull that back. It's too late. Okay. It's too late. You done open Pandora's box. So
Time to
you're gonna
go.
have to my mama said you make your bed hard, roll over. So and the other thing that I love is reframing. Okay. And
Yes.
so that is such a powerful, powerful tool.
It
Okay.
it is, and it sounds so simple. I think people hear reassessment, reframing, and resilience, and they're like, okay, Heather. Like I do really detailed self work worksheets in my courses and my program. Sometimes I'll send them over to clients. I have a free dreamscaping mini course. If anybody who's watching this wants it, Dreaming Without Barriers, there's worksheets attached and they look so simple. But what they do is they force you, if you do them well, and you really are honest with yourself, they force you to sit down with yourself and really look inside. And then you do that reflecting piece and that reframing piece. That's what leads to resilience. See, resilience is our number one key indicator into whether or not we will be successful. And it's not skill. You can learn skills. Resiliency is the belief that nothing is permanent, that there's hope for things to change, and that you can learn from what you've done in the past and get up and do it again differently. And so it requires reflecting, looking at it, reframing, and then taking that and doing something different, getting up again and doing it differently. And that can be big, big, big work, but it can also be small work. It can be, just average moments in your day and making sure that you're being compassionate with yourself. You could reflect and go, man, I was really hard on myself today. I would like to try more compassion tomorrow. So tomorrow I'm going to start my day. And I don't know if Hillary is still here, but she does havening. And I think havening is amazing. She was here earlier. If you're here, say hi, Hill. Um, from Holistically Speaking, you would love Hillary, Margaret. We should make sure to introduce you. But I love self-compassionate touch. In the morning, you slow down and you hold your face and you rub your shoulders and you just like treat yourself with the kindness and the respect that you would want somebody else to treat you with. And that's a simple shift, right? Um, I use self-compassionate talk with myself when I do something that's dumb and then I go, oh my God, Heather, that was so dumb. The thoughts and the things that we're thinking and we're feeling in our head, they permeate everywhere. So I have trained myself to most of the time. I do not all of the time because I am human. Most of the time I go, you know what? It was kind of dumb, but we're human beings and sometimes we make mistakes and it's not that big a deal and it doesn't mean anything. And now you can do something different. And I see that impacting my kids. So yesterday, my 12-year-old started seventh grade and she was at her dad's in the evening, but I was FaceTiming with her. I said, how's your day? And she goes, well, it went a little downhill at seventh period. And I said, well, what happened at seventh period? She goes, oh, I went to gym, but I was supposed to go to history. And I'm like, uh-oh, what happened? And I had made like a mini schedule for her. And I said, did I type up the schedule wrong? Like, is that my fault? And she was like, nope, I just went to the wrong classroom. And I said, well, you won't do that again, will you? She's like, no. And I said, okay, right? But so learning, like, she could have really been hard on herself for that mistake, but she wasn't. And she might have been a little bit in the moment. I wasn't there. But, the people around us, they hear what we say. They notice what we do. They notice the way we talk about ourselves, whether it's your children or your partner or your coworkers or your friends, it doesn't matter. And they embody that. First of all, that's how they think they can treat you, the way you treat you. And second of all, um, if people hear you practicing self-compassion, they might just try it for themselves because it's going to shift their perspective.
And what you're talking about, self-compassion, we're talking about self-love, okay? In order for us to love someone else, we must first love ourselves, okay?
To quote the great RuPaul, if you can't love yourself, how the hell are you going to love anybody else?
Can I get an amen?
Worship the goddess of RuPaul, so.
Okay. Now, there was a couple of other techniques that I like too, as far as with NLP, was rapport building, where you mirror and match people,
Yeah, so that's something that they teach us to put people at ease. You might find the thing about NLP work is, and this goes back to making sure that you are working with people who have integrity and you can tell. Because a lot of salespeople will use NLP techniques to manipulate a little, but what you're doing, so I could do it, right? I could mirror it. When you hear something you like, you clap. I could be conscious and I could clap too. If somebody's playing with their hair, you can play with your hair, right? You mirror it. What that does is it subconsciously lets the person you're talking to feel seen.
At ease, yeah.
And at ease, yeah, and it helps people relax. So we do it with clients and calls. It's just a way to make people feel more comfortable and relaxed. Yeah, mirroring is interesting. Yeah.
And the tone of the voice, match the tone of the voice, okay? And if
Mhm.
they're, their hand movements and things like that, then you have the eye accessing cues, and you can figure out what the person is thinking. And
Absolutely.
okay, so uh it's a part of advertising and marketing,
It
okay? And
is,
then
yeah.
okay, and it's used every day, okay? And then we think about it, the meta model, vague and limiting questions, which is really, really, politicians are good at that. They're not going to answer your question. They go around it. They're good with that, okay? And the
Mhm.
Milton model, and so I love all of these things, okay?
Yeah,
It's just
I
amazing.
loved getting my NLP certification. It is just so incredibly fascinating to understand the human psyche and the way our brain works and the neuroscience behind it. It's really cool stuff. We are neat creatures.
Absolutely. And the more that we learn, the more that we are capable of doing, okay?
Absolutely.
To
Mhm.
be able to increase our impact and our reach. Why
Mhm.
not want to elevate ourselves, okay?
Mhm.
And speaking of elevating ourselves, talk to me about your affiliate program, because when I was looking on your website, you have like 5 different affiliate programs for people to choose from.
Well, so are you talking about the programs I am an affiliate of, other programs that I represent, or the people can be an affiliate for my program? Because I do offer that as well.
So talk to us about that.
Listen, I really like the affiliate model with integrity. So you've heard me say that lots of times. I would never become an affiliate for someone or something that I hadn't tried and that I didn't truly believe was valuable. So I am an affiliate for the Anchored program. That's my NLP certification program. I think it was amazing. I can give you a link. What does it mean if I'm an affiliate? It means that you don't pay anymore, but I get a little bit of money from it. That's what it means to be an affiliate. I use Semaine supplements. They help me with my menopause, my perimenopause, and they're amazing. And I super vetted it. And I love this woman founded company, and their whole story is amazing. We interviewed Lauren Lee on my podcast. Was it Chance? Incredible story. I use her products. I use them every day. I've used them for years. So if people want to know more about it, I'm going to send you an affiliate link. Doesn't cost you any more money, but I get to earn a little money. I'm always super transparent about that. And I offer an affiliate program as well for most of my bigger products, my bigger services. I have an affiliate program for Costa Rica, but there's not a special link. I just find out, like, if somebody's watching this, if you're watching this and you decide, and you didn't already know me, you weren't part of my circle, but you came in because of Margaret, you decide you want to know about Costa Rica and you want to come, when you check out, it's going to say, how did you hear about it? I want you to say Margaret's name, because then Margaret gets to make a little bit of money, and she didn't even, mean anything, but you don't pay more, but I get to give the love away. And I think that that's really important, because I think we need to support one another, and time is money. And sometimes we support and we share and we amplify just because we want to, and that's awesome. And sometimes we're like, yeah, I'll take that extra money. I have had people say, instead of giving me the money, can you give my client whatever that, 5% is, or whatever that is? Absolutely. If that's what you want to do, absolutely. Right. So whatever works for people. But I do think that affiliate programs are really great as long as you're fully vetting everything you're doing.
I really appreciate you. That's part of paying it forward, giving back. Okay. And it's also a way for other content creators to partner and create joint ventures and partnerships with other creators like yourself. I would love to go
Absolutely.
in business with you, okay? Because hey, that's how we grow together collectively,
Yeah.
okay? And
Yeah.
the more people we can bring forward, we rise together, okay? When you
Absolutely.
when you rise, I rise, and that's
And
what
it's
I'm about.
Isn't that so much more fun that way? Like,
It
I
is.
I really love seeing people thrive and succeed. And it's really funny, Megan, whenever you come on, I tell these wonderful stories about you all the time because you're just fabulous. But when you're here, I think it's cute. When Megan, it was time for her to graduate from one-on-one coaching, she sent me a message that said, "You always tell people you're their biggest cheerleader, and you really are. And it feels so nice knowing that we can have you in our corner, that you are going to help us recognize what's awesome and celebrate that and take the time to be in joy there." And it was such a good compliment. It made me feel a little bit teary because I do really try to always do that. And it's nice to know that it's working, that people are perceiving that.
Well, I want to tell you, Heather, I really appreciate our connection when you and
Me too.
I could just feel that, okay? And I felt that it was genuine. That's why I reached out to you, and I appreciate you. You are the type of leader and the coach that I want to be as I'm starting my solopreneur journey, okay? And I just want to tell you that.
Thank
Thank you so
you.
much.
It's
Thank
such a
you.
compliment, but I just love you. You are so good at amping up other people and helping spread the word and making people feel like their contributions are being seen and being recognized and they're valuable. And it's such a lovely, lovely gift. And I'm always delighted to see your name come across my social media feed, my Substack feed. So, but you're a gift. You're a gift.
Likewise, and I'm a champion. You when I see you out there, I'm like, there go Heather. Okay, I got to give her some shout outs. I'm one of your biggest cheerleaders. Okay,
Thank you, friend. Thank you. Back at you for sure. Yeah, for sure.
do, do you have any last minute comments or anything that you would like to
Hmm.
share with everyone today?
Well, you have been so thorough, Margaret. We have really run the gamut. Like we have covered everything. And if I were one thing to pull it all together, I would say figuring out what it is that you need or you want to shift you from where you are to where you want to be. Start with reflection and reassessment. Start there. Start with actually giving yourself just a couple minutes a day to connect with what's going on so that you can gain the knowledge you need to know what the next best step is. So just start there.
All right. Well, I want to thank everyone that joined us
Yeah,
today. Thank you.
thanks, you guys.
Okay. Thank you, Heather. I said we're gonna get this done. I don't care what time
We
and what day
did it.
happen. Okay.
We
Yes, we
did
did.
it.
Yes, we did. All right. All right. Thank you so much. I will make sure to put your links in the video when it's sent out. Thank you so much again. All
Thank
right.
you. Bye, everybody. Have a
All
good
right.
night or a good
Bye.
afternoon. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.